Hi, this is Tasha again with Latitudes Gallery. This is our final day of Makeover May. You have about 4 hours left to submit your room view for your chance to win. So if you haven't done it already, let me drop it on there. Get to latitudesgallery.com, search Makeover May, and submit your room view for a chance to win $1,000 in Latitudes artwork. So the last room view I wanted to work on with you guys for this Makeover May, one of the ones that I feel is pretty important, is a commercial setting. Now, often clients come in and want to know, what do I put in this commercial space? This is my office. This is my, practice. And here's what I tell people. You want to choose the art that creates the emotion that you want your customers to have in your space. So we're going back to, what are the emotions that you feel when you see these images? It's not just what do you feel if you're the business owner or you work in this space, not just what you feel, but how do you want your customer to feel when they see it? So let's take a look. And awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at Teresa's office. So Teresa has it looks as though it's a dermatology office. I'm seeing some advertisements on the wall for skin treatment and this cute little face here in the corner. So if you were, let me drop that one on there. If you were a client in this space, how would you want to feel? That is the first question you have to ask yourself. If we're talking about skincare, so it's going to be different based on the type of practice you do. If you are an accountant, if you are a lawyer, if you do dentistry, if you're doing anything that involves any amount of stress or fear from your customers, they're nervous about their numbers, they're nervous about their teeth, anything like that, you're going to want to choose images that relax your customer. If you work in a space such as this, I would suggest an image that shows some authority, that shows a powerful, strong, clean, confident presence. So let's take a look at some choices on the wall. I love this Pismo cave image. I love the cliff here and the ripple that happens here on this cliff, as well as what's happening on her ceiling. And can I give you a little shout out, Teresa? Thank you for handling the ceiling. I am so tired of looking at ceilings in offices, and it's the least enjoyable part of the visit, that I'm staring at what are the dots on their ceiling. And so thank you for taking the time to think about what your customer is already experiencing. You're already one step ahead. Now, what do they experience when they walk into this space? What do you want to say? So if I were a customer and I was walking into this space, I was your client, I love this image. However, I am going to sit down in this chair and put my head back, and I may not want the feeling that I'm putting my head back in water. That feels a little bit like I'm going to dunk my hair. So that, for me, is a different sensory experience than I would like to have the customer experience. This one is fresh and it's not scary necessarily. Sometimes waves can be scary, so you have to watch that. This one feels fresh. It feels inviting. It feels safe. That is also my worldview, my perspective. I love like cave looking things because I feel like I'm protected in that little cave. So I love this blue room effect that Steve has done. But it may not be exactly the emotion that we want to convey. This one feels very calm, very elegant to me. How does it make you feel? If you had walked into this space as a client, does this convey what you want it to convey? Now, oftentimes, if we're talking about, say, an esthetician or a dermatologist, I would not recommend something that's like decaying or old or something like that, because you want to be putting in your client's mind what they expect from you. It's sort of like You want them to see and feel what they're going to be with you. What is their superpower after you have helped them? That's what you want them thinking about. So, what is the superpower that you are going to give them? And you want to consider that with the artwork, because especially in a space like this where there's one big bold piece, it is setting the tone. It is an important element. If you had a bunch of different pictures and they were smaller pieces, it's going to be a part of the story, but it is not the focal point. It is not what sets the tone in the space. This sets a tone. This says, welcome, I have you handled, relax. It says spa to me. It could say different things to you, but for overall, this feels like a very calming experience when I look at that. This one's really cool. This is Sky Surfer. The thing I love about Sky Surfer is that it takes you a second to figure out what it is. And so when they walk into this space, they see more like colors and swirls. It's less literal. I love that it's got the colors of the floor right here and the sort of rippled effect of the ceiling happening as well. That's a really fun one in the space. This one's bright and powerful and bold. So if you were doing something that was a little bit more showy, a little bit more, I would say, entertainment, or if you wanted to show that you are bold and powerful, select an image that is also bold and powerful. In this space, it feels a little bit overpowering, and it feels a little bit like too contrasty with the rest of the spa-like vibe that I'm seeing that Teresa has created. So I would select something a little bit softer. Like I said before, that cave effect, I love that. I don't know, there's just something about the cave feeling. I wish it wasn't as dominant in the brown colors, because it does pick up the floor, but that is not the overall color palette of the space. We're much more dominant in the grays and whites here with an accent of black. So I would rather see a bit more of that in the image. And so I'm sorry, Pismo Cave. Okay, this beach. I really, really like the beach. I love the gray in it here. It works really well with the wall, and those puffy clouds are mimicked in the sky. That's a very nice sensory experience for me. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can get an idea of what this image is feeling like. So that one's feeling pretty awesome to me. How does it make you feel? If you were a customer, how would you feel walking into that space? So let me zoom out again. There we go. Let's take a look at a couple more. This one's really fun. It's from the sky, but not quite as straight up and down as Sky Surfer is. See, this one's straight down. This is bird's eye view right down, which makes it sort of disorienting. You don't exactly know what you're looking at first until you see that cool little surfer. Let me find him so you can see, so you can have fun with me. This little tiny surfer hiding in there. He's so much fun. Such an unexpected surprise. And I love the layers of the water. Gosh, I just love Sky Surfer. But let's look. Okay, let me hide Sky Surfer. So this view, so remember in the last video when I talked about the path that your eye takes? Do you notice what's happening when you look at this? How your eye goes around the head of this chair and then up into the curve of the beach and then up and around. It's a really nice flow. It pulls you up and into the space. That's a really fun experience. If we zoom in, you can see that there are a bunch of people on the beach. They're tiny. There is a pathway. This is Ventura Beach, I believe, with this really cool wheelchair pathway that they've put in. And I love, not only are you getting the fun sets that are out there, you get Channel Islands in the distance, you get this really neat lacy foam. There's a lot of elements to love here. So I really like it. Oop, hit the wrong button. All right. So that is, I think I have one more. Oh, Okay, I adore this image in this space. So if I were to just go based on color palette alone, this is a hard one to beat. It's got the dark elements over here in this rock, which it grounds that black, that contrast of the black chair. It grounds it in the space really well. It has just a hint of the floor. And remember when we were talking about the room that had the brick fireplace and how I was saying even if you've got that gray wall, say your palette is cool tones, but you're stuck with an element of the space that's built in that is a warm tone. If you have just a hint of it in the artwork, you can still go predominantly cool tones with that little hint, and that ties it all together. I really, really love this image in the room. The holdup for me, though, is what does the customer experience when they see this art? This might be a little bit more powerful than you want that customer experience to be. Let's take a look a little bit closer so you can get a better idea. So you've got these choppy waves, this burst of water. This could also feel really clean and fresh. Gosh, I really, really love this image. And I really love it on the wall. But if you are feeling overwhelmed with it, if it feels more powerful, a little more chaotic, a little more exciting, that's not what you want your customer to feel if your goal is a calm space. So let's go out one more time and take a look at our choices. So let's go a complete contrast from this. Oh, as much as I love it. All right, pastel shores. You've got that hint of the sand color tied into the floor. I really love that. You've got the line effect, that I like because it's tying into the lines for the sort of the ruching of the ceiling. It's tying into that. And so that's really nice. It's calm. It's peaceful. I wish it had a dark element in it to anchor all of the pieces together, but it is beautiful in this space. So if you were a client in this space, which one would you want to see? I am going to narrow it down to my favorites. That one's a no. I do love Blue Room. I wish it had a little more colors that we could play with. That's really wonderful. That's very elegant. Let's see what else there is. What are you guys liking? I'm still really liking this one. Down to... I'm sorry, I love this one so much. But if I'm considering my client's mindset and what I want them to feel, I would say that's a no. I'm going to pick calm and relaxing and elegant. So this is the one I'm going to select. I like that it's got some of the gray in there, and it does go into a darker gray, some darker colors in the corners. So let's make it fit on the wall. When you are sizing art for a room like this, you are going to want one powerful image, one big, bold piece. You do not want lots of little things on the wall. That will feel cluttered. It could feel claustrophobic to some people. For this wall, I would center it on the wall. I know it's a little bit harder to figure out where to do it because you don't really have furniture centered on the wall, or centered, under the picture on the wall. You don't have a lot to go off of, and so that's why you're going to center on the wall itself. It grounds the space. It just sort of anchors everything in it. In this size room, this looks like it might be maybe an 8 by 10 room. That feels a little bit too big. You might want to go with something like a 27 by 40, bringing it down just a little bit. You might want to go with something like a 27-inch by 40-inch piece in a small room such as this, but just one piece. That makes your life a lot easier. The rest of the walls are breathing room. If you're going to choose to highlight some of your marketing materials or some of the products that you do it like this in a really classy way. What I do love about what Teresa did is the color palette, even though there are different marketing materials over here, the colors work really well with each other. So the accent of the burgundy and the purple works really nicely. So also consider that when you're putting marketing materials up on the wall for your products that you offer your customers, don't have it an overwhelming experience. Don't have it something that they are looking at and they are just bombarded with. Focus on, like, pick your top 5. What are your top 5 must-haves? And find a way to display those elegantly, tastefully, so that they're not all yelling at someone at the same time. The other thing is that, especially if you make them long-time customers, you are going to, yay, there I got a shadow. You're going to have many opportunities to convince them of the products that they are going to need and what your services are. So it doesn't all have to be all at one time. And so I do like how elegantly you have done that, Teresa. So if you are working on a commercial space, consider your customer's mindset, what you want to set the tone for, how you want to create that space to evoke those emotions. And go one big and bold piece, and the rest of it, let it be breathing room. Thanks so much for watching. This is our last Makeover May rendering for the day. We will be drawing the winner tomorrow, and I believe that is 1 o'clock. We will post the details for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we really appreciate all the entries that have come in so far. Have a great night.